Hello, today we have an author interview. It's our first. We are talking to Dr. Mike Studer about his brand new book, The Brain That Chooses Itself. I am so super excited. I'm going to get Mike on here. And if we haven't met, my name is Julie Hirschberg. I am a neurologic physical therapist and owner and founder of Re+active, and a colleague, friend, so happy to call this person a friend of Mike Studer. I bought this as soon as it came out. And by the way, if you're joining us today during this interview, we're going to give one away to you as well. We're gonna draw a name from our folks today. So I did see Mike. I saw you come on here, and let me get you in because I can't wait to talk to you about this. And thank you to all of you. I see Megan on here. I want to say hello. Beth, hey, I'm so glad you're here. There's so many good things in here for you. And there he is, the
Hey, how's it
man,
going?
the person, this person.
Oh my gosh. I'd like to meet that guy.
You would like him, I think. I think you'd really like him, Mike.
We have a few things in common.
Oh my
How's it
gosh.
going, my friend?
It's it's going good. I I had time to read your book. I feel like that is a gift. Because as you talk about in your book about rest and some of the other things that we might do, reading a book I put in my restful activity list of things,
Beautiful.
and it's hard
Well,
for me to do sometimes. So I feel great privilege to take some rest and read.
and I'm
So
privileged that you took your time and spent it on that. Thank you.
Uh, well, I am definitely better for it. Now I'm just like, I was already a fan just because it's got a brain on it and your name, but now I'm a bigger fan because I read it and it's just so good. So I shared with folks we are going to give one away in a random drawing as we go live today. So I'm excited about that because I actually think every person in the world should have this book, and that's not just because I'm your friend, Mike. It's because I care about people and their brains. So,
Julie, I
um,
I wrote this book with the intent that it absolutely would be appropriate, readable, helpful, healthy for people 6 to 126. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. And readable by those individuals as well. Yeah.
it's very readable, like fast, like interesting read, and it's not very big. Like it's very doable.
Yeah.
And I wonder if we could start. Well, first, let's just like, why would you write this book about the brain? What do you even know
Yeah.
about the brain?
Yeah.
Like, tell folks that maybe haven't met you a little bit about you and why you would write this book.
Sure. So I'm not a neuroscientist. I'm a practical clinician that's seen more than 25,000 patients in my career, 33 years plus long. I am a student of, a nerd of the brain, and it became more and more apparent to me how much the brain and body bidirectionally influence one another. So, as with everything in my life, Julie, if I want to learn more about something, I task myself to achieve that. So, I take the board certification exam to become a neurologic clinical specialist so that I can become an expert, not for the initials, but so that I can amass the knowledge. So, why do I write the book? I write the book so I can do deeper dives and challenge myself to have expertise in these areas. So, knowing as much as I do know about the brain, and with training as a physical therapist in the body, all I had to do is really understand the depths of systems and organs to be able to really appreciate that full, as far as we know, bidirectional nature, brain and body. And, you know, I'm a psychologist at heart, not trained psychologist, but it's one of my main things as a physical therapist is to really understand that choice is important. So that had to be breathed into my book.
In the title.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I will share with folks too. Mike has been a mentor of mine, a colleague, has taught so much to fellow clinicians. We've hosted courses, and a lot of it is actually what I would say, like you said, you're a psychologist at heart, about this interface and how decisions and choice affect our movement, our
Yeah.
function, our day to day.
Yeah.
And so this was a very appropriate title. You also wrote the book, like some of my favorite books from being a kid, which is Choose Your Own Adventure Style.
Yeah.
Like you go to the beginning and it's like, you don't need to start at the beginning. And
That's
in fact, I actually started at the end of the book because I like to defy conventions. And
That's great.
like the references alone are worth the price of the book.
Oh, thank you so
They
much.
really are.
Yeah,
But
it is
even
comprehensive.
better,
Yeah.
at the end, there's like a cliff notes of every single
Yeah.
chapter here.
Yeah.
Which is fabulous. But I love that it's a choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
It's not that you have to go in order.
Yeah.
Um, and you also start off by, and I think it's maybe right in the beginning, you say, this isn't the book on longevity,
Yeah.
right? It serves a different purpose. And I'm kind of wondering, what did you see maybe missing in the world? Because there's tons of books out there right now, and nobody wants to age.
Yeah.
So
Julie, I'll tell you, you know, I look up to Dr. Peter Attia, Dr. Andrew Huberman, Dr. Rhonda Patrick, so many of these individuals. I look up to them. I don't know as much as any one of those individuals, and you could go on and on with the list of those people. And they have podcasts, and they have millions of people following them. Well, what is missing? We need a singular compendium that pulls together all of that information that I know and what I can consume from them. And we need two things. We need, number one, for it to be readable by the average everyday individual that doesn't have medical training. And the second thing is, I can't tell you how many people over 55 and especially over 65 that says, how would I access this? Because I don't listen to podcasts, right? They just don't. And so we want the people that need to be reached with this span that entirety, that could listen to an audiobook coming out next year, could read it on a Kindle already, could hold a hard paper. We want to be able to reach people and not have friction or barriers. So it had to be done for those two reasons: a singular compendium, easy to read, in a format that will also reach these people.
and I would add to that, Mike, as well, because I listen to a lot of those podcasts as well. I follow these folks. There's also a lot of thrift out there.
Oh,
There are falsehoods, right? There are things that are not evidence
yeah,
based. And there are what I would say, like, quote, influencers
yeah,
or such. And I like get lost in the maze of like, well, is this good? Is this not good? Like, what's happening here? And so do my patients. And it's
yeah,
confusing. And you make a very big point to bring the evidence. And that's why I say the references alone. I've read many
mhm,
other books recently that maybe had 12 references.
yeah.
There are statements in there that are not founded,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and that's
And
important to me as a scientist for it to be true. You know, we avoided fads and supplements and things that I don't know anything about. But you're exactly right. It needs to be factual based on today's information, and we can go up from there and continue to develop. And my goodness, I've adopted many of those things that you and I have both fallen into. I'm going to be the champion of this, that, and the other. And I didn't write about those in the book. We debunked those things. And so we really wanted to make certain that we were staying factual and viable. And I know that my cousin Fred Studer is on right now, who's a wonderfully gifted speaker. He is blowing our chat up. And really, I just have to acknowledge so many people here. But let me just at least say, you're right. Your previous point, you know, we go back to why we had to write it. It has to be the person's modality. And so that comes into the brain that chooses itself. You know, you could have just skipped 3 of those chapters and still found something that was choice worthy and impactful for you. And that's just fine. Yeah.
choice worthy.
Yeah.
Yes. The
Hyphen between those
chapters.
two. Choice worthy.
Okay. Choice worthy. Yes. Well, and I think for us as clinicians to sort through the chatter of like cold plunging and heat and even exercise, what's good,
Intermittent
what's
fasting.
bad,
Yeah.
intermittent fasting and nutrition, sleep and rest. For us to sort through some of that would take me 10 years.
Yeah,
And it's in here. So it's like the ultimate cheat sheet of
it
some
is.
of those things that I think are quite confusing.
Yeah.
If you're just hanging out on social media or online or Googling things, it's hard to find what's real, or
Julie, I
which
love
has
that.
real evidence.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you know, we have been honest and real with one another, and I'm always transparent with people, my employees, my patients, my colleagues. I have limitations, faults, and incapacities, and I'll tell you this, above everything that I seemingly can and cannot do, what I can do is understand how to touch a human being, mentally and see where they are. And the other thing I can do is translate information so it can be consumed by everyone. Because I've had to learn over the years of how to speak with my patients and how to listen to my patients. And that's why I didn't want to write a book that was scientific and beautiful and jargon-esque and medically proficient with beautiful citations. I wanted to write a readable, tangible book that has cliff notes within cliff notes within cliff notes, right? I mean, the whole
It
book is
does.
a cliff note of everything. And then inside that, you don't want to read it? Too long, didn't read.
Yeah.
And it's just microcosmed as far down as you want to take it, reductive, if you will.
Yeah. If you just scroll through and read these little pieces, I think they're like, what does Mr. Mike say? What does Dr.
Yeah,
Studer say?
Dr. Studer says, and
Dr.
that entire, so that I did not make that up myself. I probably wouldn't have done that myself, but my editor, Kim Simons, is fabulous. If you need to write a book, use Kim Simons, okay? I can tell you how
Okay.
to get a hold of her. She decided we need to have Dr. Studer says. It brought me out into the book.
Yeah. No, I love the Dr. Studer says parts, for sure. So so you talked about making this readable for everyone.
Yes.
Why should maybe a clinician read this?
Okay, so number one, the clinician wants to live longer and live healthier. The clinician loves other people that they want to live longer and healthier. The clinician needs to know how to communicate to their clients, patients, etc. And they need to know how to communicate that in a practical manner. And so those are three. That's it.
That's
I'm
perfect.
the short
That's perfect.
answer king.
Yeah. Also, apparently the Bono of the brain.
Oh
I'm
my
just gonna shout out your
gosh.
cousin here.
Don't get me started on Bono, okay? Don't
Bono,
he's
well, Bono, you too is in here. I don't know that
three
Bono
times.
specifically. Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's in here. Mike's musical, uh, the wide variety of your musical taste is throughout the book. It really
Oh,
is.
yeah. And you
Yeah,
know what? And I totally love this. Julie, I know that you particularly love the playlist that's at the end.
I do.
And I had fun with that. But, you know, Bono, the U2 is in there several more times. But I
Yeah,
think, you know, that's just part of the book being fun and humoristically irreverent, you
yeah,
know, while not being so. I mean, I was interviewed earlier today about this, and I had, I played bullet chess, 1 minute bullet chess, okay? And I actually had a reader, a fellow player opponent who's from Australia, looked at my name, which is called The Brain That Chooses Itself. That's my identity on chess. He says, I found your book, and he says it's brilliant, it's humoristic, it's readable, it's practical, it's helpful, etc. I hope that this book reaches all over the place and reaches diverse groups and is impactful. I don't care how much it sells. I want it to reach. Yeah.
reach.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you, we decided we're going to send this to, we have an online membership for people with F&D, and we're going to send it to our annual members. So if
Oh
any of
my
them are here,
gosh.
this is coming your
That is
way
so beautiful.
because it's so impactful. I was talking to a member today, and we're going to do a book club on it as
Okay,
well.
so you guys are book club number 2, and I'm encouraging, there's got to be more book clubs that
Yeah.
use this thing. That's my favorite, to have people talk about it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think Brain Bites needs this book club as well.
There you go.
Because again, as a clinician, I'm gaining so much value by the way you've distilled the information.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, thank you.
so, um, so
why choice? Like,
Okay.
yeah, you
Well,
have
that's beautiful.
this is infused
Yeah.
throughout the book, but
Yeah.
why choice for other people that have not been on the Mike Studer train
Yeah.
for as long as I have?
Yeah, yeah, it's beautiful. And I love that question to be queued up. You can tell people what to do. You can prescribe medication and exercises for them. You can demonstrate other people getting better doing things. You can show pop culture icons and models that are achieving things based on take my results, inject this, do this, supplement that. Doesn't matter. However, the only thing that is going to be consistently applied with intensity and also benefit from the unfortunate concept of placebo that gets a negative rap, the
Hmm.
only thing that's going to get longevity in utilization compliance is actually going to be things that we adopt for ourselves.
Hmm.
So when we choose it, we number one, believe in it. That already increases its effectiveness. And number two, we're going to stick with it because we have the confirmation bias that this is what's best for me. I'll tell you a very brief story.
Yeah.
As soon as we wrap up here, we're going to some friend's house for dinner. I was hiking a mountain with that very friend just a couple of days ago. On the way down the mountain, he tells me about two friends that have been in a weight loss journey. One of them took all the GLP-1 agonists right there, took one of them, right? He didn't take all of them, and has been successful. The other one changed his mindset about food, exercise, diet, etc., and they both lost respectively 60 and 40 pounds. Who had the better technique, Julie? Both of them did, because they chose the best technique for themselves. So it's what we talk about there in the book. If you don't choose it, you won't use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Well, one of the parts of the book that really like personally struck me, and I know it strikes other people, there's a chapter on
Mm.
rest. And in particularly in that chapter, you allude to the way rest looks for people is different, right?
Mm.
So this is another choice. Some people, myself included, actually can feel guilty with rest, and we need to structure our rest a little bit differently. This
Right.
is my culture, this is my background. I come from this very hardworking stoic family, and rest is different, right?
Yeah.
And so that was very freeing for me, but I wonder where that came from for you to put that piece in the book.
Sleep is extremely important. We know that. We talk about that in the book. But what else helps the brain recover, helps the cells? All cells of the body need time to respirate. One of the main reasons why we don't eat constantly, even if we eat the same amount, is because cells need to rest. And when we think about the body as a total, we understand that, again, it comes down to the brain choosing itself. If I force you to take a nap and you can't, or you feel guilty for that, it's not going to work for you. If I force you into non-sleep deep rest, if I force you into play and you think that's a non-purposeful way to use my time, rest is only going to be fully restful when it is chosen and it is of the modality that reflects your persona.
Yeah. And I find myself, how you have the VILPA,
Yes, yes.
vigorous. Okay.
Vigorous
I have,
intermittent lifestyle physical activity.
yes, I have the opposite, which is little moments of
Oh,
rest for
okay.
myself.
That's wonderful.
So I sit in a rocking chair for 2 minutes, and that's really helpful for me and restorative.
Oh
And
my
maybe
gosh.
that's also a physical activity,
It
right?
is. That is actually um, it's called NEAT. It's non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which
Okay.
is good. However, you know what? And I don't plan on writing a second book at this point. What we know is that if you engage in VILPA or something intense, that you will earn about 4 times the amount of lifespan back that you spent with that. Spend 4 hours of high intensity exercise in a week, you're probably actually going to get 16 hours of lifespan back. It's proven, it's not my opinion. They actually even extrapolated all the way to 7x. But why did I bring that up right now? Because what we don't know yet, and I think we're on the precipice, is how much lifespan can you gain back from rest?
Mm.
So if you get a 4x return for exercise, is it possible that you'll get a 2x or 4x return for rest? Entirely plausible.
Oh.
Yeah. Yet to be demonstrated, but
I
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm ready for that one. And yeah, Zach is saying, I just found my next read. LOL, here it is. Um, and maybe Zach was intrigued by this idea of Vilpa. I hadn't really like latched on to. Can you explain what it is, maybe for
Okay.
folks?
Yeah,
Because I
absolutely.
think it's
So
very doable for people.
that's exactly what it's supposed to be. It is the epigenesis of exercise snacks, right?
Hmm.
Okay. So what we're looking at here is, and I didn't develop this, vigorous intermittent lifestyle physical activity, VILPA. So the studies have been done with thousands and thousands of people, but what we're actually talking about here is the effective application to control metabolic, cardiovascular, and many other diseases that are based on inflammation by inserting practical, higher intensity activities that you were already doing. I'm going to walk to get the mail. For 30 seconds of that walk, I'm going to walk briskly. I'm going to stand up from the couch. I'm going to do 5 of them. I'm mowing my lawn and doing pathway, pathway, pathway. 2 pathways in a row. Let's go. It's all of those things. So it's lifestyle. I'm already doing this. And it's intermittent. Let's go a little bit faster. Vigorous intensity. Yeah.
I love that. What is your like personal Vilpa during the day? What's your
Oh, my
favorite?
wife and I go out for walks just about daily. There's that.
Yeah.
I play with my dog,
Oh,
and he is a hard charger. You know Ollie. And I can take Ollie from 0 to 60 real fast. And so we go out and hit some high intensity wrestling periods in the backyard on days that I'm home. That's another great Vilpa right there. I'm getting dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and all the physical benefits. And he's pushing me on reaction speed and reaction time. That's great too. And it's great. You could do that with your grandchildren. You could push a stroller slow, fast, slow, fast. You could do any of those things.
I love that. And there's this lovely picture, I think, that your son
Yes.
took of you and Diane, I think, walking,
Yes.
right? And it's maybe in the social connection
It
chapter.
is. Yes.
It
That is exactly
is.
where it is.
And I was like, I know those people.
Yeah.
And um, I thought it was great that there's a social connection chapter, right? And I wonder if you can talk a little bit about the brain effects. You kind of slid one in there because you talked about oxytocin too.
Right.
In your Vilpas, you were getting social
Oh,
connection. So
absolutely.
you're like double downing on all 10 chapters in your Vilpa, maybe with your
Oh, yeah.
activities.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's practical. So, uh, social connections to me are very easy to, let's just say, summarize at this point, but the breadth of what they can do are yet unknown. All right, so number one, when you need to perform something stressful, job interview or examination, research is in there that says if you feel supported going into that and have social connections, you'll do better. Illness. If you have social connections, your immune system is going to function better. Okay. Longevity. If you have purpose-filled life where you are needed to give back to this larger nuclear family, blue zones, right? And that's Dan Buettner's work and looking at the blue zones of Okinawa and, et cetera, Italy, Santorini, and Greece as well. We know that longevity, performance, cognitive health, immune health, all of those things. And now let's consider sport performance. You can do this. Let's go, Jimmy. You got this. Or 6 other people in front of you have already gotten hits, enhanced expectancies. I'm enjoying this. We row the boat faster. We're the better Olympic team. We love one another. Michael Jordan's Bulls, et cetera, et cetera. Social connections. We love one another. We support one another. We elevate each other. I'll say one other thing about this, and it's one of my favorite aspects of social connections. We all know Hobson says to his audience that you become like the 5 closest friends you've got, right? And
Yeah.
one of the twists on that is that we may be choosing friends that we actually want to become like. So
Mm.
we are forecasting how we want to be and be around these people. And so we are, let's just say, self-fulfilling our own prophecies by surrounding ourselves with people we want to become like. So it's just, there's so much in that chapter alone. That may be one of the longest chapters. I love that chapter.
I think it's the longest chapter.
Yeah.
And I was going to kind of ask you, I think 10
Yeah.
chapters, it's quick and big, key big topics of physical activity, eating, social, rest. Oh gosh, I love this one, beyond your comfort zone. That's a little uncomfortable, actually.
It is. It is. And see, we think to ourselves, well, we intentionally put ourselves at red line or VO2 max, or we max out, we go to exhaustion. But we also have to think about the science of cold plunge and sauna and intentionally intermittent fasting. So it covers all of those things plus some. And an understanding that when we challenge ourselves, we leverage neuroplasticity. We make hard things in life feel not quite as hard because we've already been there and done that. I actually just put a post on Instagram earlier today exactly about that,
Mm.
and just listed 14 different reasons why a person might want to try to expand their breadth of comfort zone by occasionally living outside of it safely. We're not talking about base jumping without whatever person does with base jumping. But yeah, and the nice thing is people choose their own comfort zone. As long as you're just barely outside of it, we found actually that it doesn't have to be 41-degree water or 38-degree water. It just has to be something that feels uncomfortable to you, and it's a win.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought that point was so interesting. I'm telling you that it's a very good chapter that I think pushes our thinking. This one, you talk about the disparities and disabilities and their effect on health. And you have this lovely chapter with real people
Yeah.
and real stories.
Yes.
And I think when I was thinking of this as a book club, especially with patients, these are your patients, or some friends also, right? But these are people who have had a stroke or Parkinson's disease or ALS, and some of the choices that they are making that are really changing their perspective on life and their health span,
Yeah,
right?
that's
how
right.
did you how did you compile those stories?
Julie, this was quite by accident. I had intended to write another book starting about 3 years ago. And that book was going to include a chapter for each one of those persons' stories. I interviewed them
Mhm.
with the intent to include that. That book never came out as the breath, as the, oh my gosh, I want to pour this book out. But those stories were beautifully gifted to me for this opportunity. And every single one of those persons that I interviewed then are still living. They will soon have a copy of the book. I haven't actually received my copies yet, but I'm in debt to the 25,000 people that I've learned from over my life and over my career, just the 25,000 patients. And this is a way for me to gift back and show people that there is no therapist to patient. You're actually affecting me. You are helping me. You're educating me. You're oxytocinizing me, and all the things, right? You know I love to
Oxy
make up words.
I know, oxytocinizing. I literally have a list of the Mikeisms. I don't think I have that one, but I'm going to start using it. And honestly, Mike, you have changed me as a clinician to recognize the gifts that I'm getting from people, to be with them on a journey, to be, on that, picking them up as a hitchhiker, right? And going on a drive, as you have said.
Right?
And
Letting them steer sometimes and finding out how
yes.
they want to be driven and respectfully adopting their preferences. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, it's changed me and so many other clinicians that I know. I just wanted to point out Jim in the book, honored to be a part of the book. He's here right now.
Yes, yes. Thank you
So
so much. This is a very, very good man that overcame. I can't actually tell you what he's gone through, but he overcame more than most and is living a beautiful life on the backside of that.
yeah. Yeah, and here tonight to celebrate with you in this book. Now, I want to leave choice to you. You have dinner plans tonight. I want to make sure you get where you're going.
We're fine.
I also want to, if we have a lot of folks that have showed up tonight, if you have
Yeah.
questions for Mike too, we've got the expert right here. You can put a comment in. But I wonder if you have time to share a favorite passage or part of the book.
I'm prepared to do so, and thank you for giving me the opportunity. Julie, I'm going to ask you, do you want me to go in the social connections or in the nutrition segment? Which one?
Ooh, because I also have a favorite. You know what? I think nutrition,
Okay, I'm going to
Mike,
go to nutrition.
yeah,
All right.
yeah, because I think this is an area that maybe like as clinicians we might know less about as physical therapists.
All right, here we go. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. There's a relationship between if this is going to sound somewhat like the narration that's going to come out next year, there's a
Yeah.
relationship between our microbiome and the dietary intake of sugar. My two favorite articles on this topic are Dreisbach and colleagues and Tlais and colleagues, also in 2024. The Dreisbach study is important and rare because it actually studied women that were pregnant and found that improved microbiome health was realized in the newborn when the mothers consumed less dietary sugar. So I'm summarizing here just a little bit. Tlais' article also says that consuming fermented foods, a personal favorite strategy of mine, gives us a 2x benefit to the microbiota that prefer fermented foods and also prefer reduced sugar. So you choose your favorite food options and be creative to include one or many in your diet. These may include kombucha, miso, some yogurts, tempeh, kimchi, and more aged cheeses and sauerkraut. Now here's the compelling part of that whole segment and why it's important. All right, this is where it gets to the whoa, flip the brain. The facts are salient and very compelling here. First, we have more microbiota, living organisms that are not us. They are microbiomes, their own existence, in our gut than we have cells in our body. Second, a developing consensus is the composition of these organisms, the gut microbiota, may be influencing our cravings about what to eat, when to eat, and how much to eat. Third fact, your gut microbiome produces 90 to 95% of your serotonin. Rather than attempting to take a deeper dive, interest readers should see these articles, and I'll tell you what this means is when you think you're choosing what to eat, whoa, the script could be flipped. Your microbiota may be choosing for you. So I wrote in the Dr. Studer Says, full stop, reread that sentence above about microbiota influencing craving. Is it possible that with intuitive feeding, that's actually a study, when control is relinquished to the person, it's actually control being released to what our microbiota prefer? There's some intended truth in that because remember, they gift you and reinforce to you, just like Pavlov's dog, they reinforce to you serotonin when you eat what they wanted you to eat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to go second level and get woo-woo here. I'm just saying, hey, there is a relationship here. When you are looking to eat healthily, you will be rewarded for doing so.
Yeah. Wow. I have this vision of all these like little little organisms making decisions for me in my gut and guiding my every
Now, you
choice.
had a
That
favorite excerpt, though.
I I like so many. You should see my book. It's like all marked up. But I will tell you I what this becomes my favorite because I've been kind of doing the rabbit hole looking at play, right? So we use
Mm.
play a lot, we gamify a lot thanks to a lot of your mentorship, and we see just an immediate transformation for folks, right? The literature is a little challenging to
Oh,
follow.
right.
It's in, and you, like you mentioned this, there's some things in developmental,
Mm.
like a lot in children, right? Not necessarily in neuro rehab.
Yes.
It's kind of a missing area.
Hmm.
But you had this list, and this is in the optimized wellness chapter.
Okay.
You had a list of 7 things that play does.
Wow. Yeah.
And this is what I love about the book is that, like, if somebody is like, well, I don't know about playing, as a clinician, should I really play? There's a list here for you. Play regulates hormones to a more balanced state, like lowering cortisol.
Hmm.
And I would say most folks coming in to see me or my team for the first day, it's a new and kind of nerve-wracking experience for
Right.
folks. They've had a lot of bad experiences maybe in rehab, right? So anyway, play gets me excited. Play serves to promote hormones and chemicals that give a sense of wellness, increasing serotonin, that's come up several times, increasing dopamine and oxytocin. Play can lead to integrational changes in the prefrontal cortex.
Hmm.
So executive control centers. Play increases whole brain integration through physical movement, creative self-expression. By the way, there's examples in all of these. So
Hmm.
examples of like horse in basketball, board games, musical chairs. Oh, spoons is a personal
Yeah.
favorite. Charades, dance like no one's watching. This was play helps lower cortisol and gives a consequence-free opportunity
There
to
you-
create autonomy.
Yeah.
Um, and then 7 is play contributes to integration of the brain in both left and right hemisphere. I like this, creating a new game, right?
Yeah.
Play acting, role playing, imitating others. And then you have a lot of surprises in the book, which you told me pay attention for the surprises, which let me wonder about the surprises that were going to happen. So thank you.
Yeah.
um Play therapy is traditionally directed towards children,
Right.
but this is what we know, it's helpful and indicated for all ages.
And why
And
wouldn't you give people a no pressure opportunity to explore, invent, and innovate, and really not have any? I'm going to create another word here, any punition. So it's non punitive. You just try and you throw your hands up. And, we have all, no matter whether you're 89 now or 19 right now, we've all played in our lives and let our hair blow in the breeze as we stuck our head out of a car window, those types of things. And you want to have those resonant, let's just say episodic memories, so events in our lives, where we can now begin to associate movement with fun. And that also permits people to VILPA as well. For those of you that have joined us a little bit later, to be briefly intense in movement. And you can do that while you're playing. I mean, you can triple stack that. It's
yeah.
great.
Yeah. No, I've rediscovered play for myself, but also I think just such an important part of rehabilitation. So that list I particularly loved. But you know what was a really fun little surprise was a Dr. Studer not just says, but believes the Ted Lasso belief one. I really enjoyed that. So anybody who's a Ted Lasso fan, and Ted Lasso is something that you watched.
Yep.
And I mean, Mark and I were just, we're still mourning the loss of Ted Lasso, but
Yeah.
he has, to others, he has this speech to his, subpar soccer team about belief. And he says, I think it's the lack of hope that comes and gets you. See, I believe in hope. I believe in belief. And then he later says, I want to mess around with this belief that I that I matter, believing that things can get better,
Yeah.
that I can get better, that we can get
Yeah.
better. Um,
And
and
that's the thing, Julie, is that when we have hope, aspirations, enhanced expectancies, whatever you call it, that's what makes us thrive. That's what makes us survive. That's what is an essential ingredient to keep us purposefully living longer, right? And so you cannot dash hope, and we have to have belief. But what we've mistaken in belief, and I'll say this one more time for the people that have joined a little bit later, is that we have this uncomfortable relationship with placebo. But we understand that if we believe that our surgeon is good, the outcome's going to be better. That's all over in literature. If we believe that this medication is going to be helpful for us, if we believe this person will be a good friend to us, if we believe that this house or this car will be good for us, we need to have belief, and that absolutely substantiates hope and energized intensity toward this ultimate goal. And I'll just take a pause right there for just a second. Sociologists for decades and centuries have thought that the ultimate goal of the brain was survive and reproduce, right? It's only those things. We have to get ourselves enough food because it's available now, and then we have to at least do everything we can to procreate. And I believe now we're pivoting into a time where we also value social connections and being loved and getting positive feedback that's truly earned. And so I think we're actually pivoting into a time that the brain is positioning itself toward that. And I think we're recognizing that having those experiences, opportunities, friendships, connections, that actually comes back to feed the brain in and of itself. So I think we're philosophically evolving to another place.
yeah. And we might have had to go through a period of separation and loneliness
Yeah.
and extreme anxiety
Right.
to get there. Sometimes
Oh,
that's how the
absolutely.
swings of understanding on a worldwide basis, right?
Right. How many
Yeah.
songs have actually written the line, "You don't know what you've got until it's gone," right?
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about that, right? And now we value,
Yeah.
we need to stay in a position that we demonstrate value.
Yeah. 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 And I have to point out, because Jim says play gave me confidence my recovery would be successful. Mike and I played a lot.
Yes, we did.
Yes.
We
And
did.
some great shout outs for Ted Lasso. Oh, Zach says, I rewatched Ted Lasso before going to reactive. Believe is crucial. It really
Yeah.
is. There's another suggestion here, Anatomy of an Illness by Norman Cousins.
Okay.
A book. There was a question earlier
Okay.
on, very
Let's do it.
specific, and I'm trying to get to it here. It was about planking. Now, I thought this is a very appropriate question because sometimes if you go on any social media or wherever, people are going to say, this is the exercise that's going to save your life, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is what you need. So this
And if
person is asking
you
for
believe it is.
tips.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
and you know what? It might be for some people, but this person is sharing they can't plank for a long time.
Okay.
It feels
Yeah.
painful, but I'm young and healthy. I'm just trying to wake my core back up. Do you have
Yeah.
tips?
Absolutely. So I would say, again, no medical advice is being given here, no doctor-patient relationship is being established. However, with that said, so one thing would be distract yourself in a playful manner. So that would be, I'm watching my favorite rerun of Seinfeld while I'm doing it, and I'm going to try to accomplish 4 separate planks during this segment before they go to commercial again. That's one. Another one is compete playfully with someone else alongside of you. Another one is keep track of your planking and gamify to, let's just say, elevate yourself to beat your own previous score. And another one is distract yourself with something that would be more meditative and contemplative. And that would be not an internal focus of where am I feeling this, but an external focus of what am I hearing? Where is my cat right now? And so distracting yourself in those things, or potentially putting a couple nice weights down, opening up chapter 2, and say, I'm going to actually read 2 pages while I'm planking. So I've given you 6 different options there.
I think you should buy the book and read chapter 2. I also think what I loved with the idea of choice, and again, it's got a whole chapter in here, is that there's not always one right way,
That's exactly
right?
what I just expressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
And you could take that to anything. You're planking, you're learning to walk, me and my running, right, routine. There's not one way. And
Exactly.
I just want to share too, someone else shared. I'm so happy to be reintroduced to play and having fun with movement and creativity.
Yeah.
And I think that's such a lovely sentiment, and I feel that way too. I feel very thankful to be reintroduced to play and having fun, um,
That,
because I do feel that immediate
yeah.
change in my nervous system.
Yeah. People that really know me, Julie, know that I remain a kid at heart at north of 55 years old. I'm just like my dog. I will play anytime, anywhere with anybody. I mean, like I'll play any game, even if I know that you're 6x the player that I am. Play is so important to me, and that's what it's one of the things that actually just keeps me young. I'm playful, irreverent with what I do and don't know, and I think it's extremely important. I
I
hopefully
do
that
too.
hearing sometimes it's going to be off-putting.
Yeah, I remember one time we were filming our MedBridge course and I was like, let's do a TikTok. And you were like, okay.
That was my first one and only one I've ever done, and I'm like,
I
yeah.
think it might be, but you were game. You were game, and we did a really great "Who are you?" Right? Yeah. Um, Jojo is asking, what about kids with brain injury?
That may be one of the best applications here to take an individual that is potentially perseverating on the new health problems that they've got in an individual who's never had a health problem so far in their life, who has the whole world of unknown in front of them, no experiences of I had this and I was able to overcome this. Uh, I'll tell you that play can help them re-engage. Play can help them recapitulate their attention span, which is one of the most common impairments with brain injury. So going back, and we're flipping the script on what can and should be done for persons recovering from brain injury, even in the first week of concussion. Don't take every screen, every social event, and every opportunity away from them. Let them re-engage in things. And so play can help me distract from I'm having a problem with balance, and again and again and again. But all of a sudden now you are dribbling a soccer ball, hitting a balloon like volleyball, etc., dribbling 2 basketballs. Play can disengage the overactive right temporoparietal junction that is watchful of problems and looking for problems and finding every problem that could be found.
Yeah, yeah. Brilliant, brilliant advice and a great question there, too. And oh, Beth is saying thanks for writing this book. Looking forward to reading it. Beth, I'm sending you a copy, so don't go buy it. I'm going to send it to your house. Beth just had a 1 year anniversary of like finishing a program here at Reactive. She shared that today. um so um yeah so Jojo said, thank you, I'll take my kids to have a lot of play. Yes, yes, yes.
Indicated
uh
you'll both live longer. You'll live closer together. They will repurpose back to you in older age as well.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So Mike, I want to take a moment to give away a book. I already shared with Beth that I am sending her one. And I just hope that whoever I land on here also um is still here. because I was doing it randomly. But as I do that, someone asked, they're in
Uh-huh.
Australia. Can they still purchase the book?
So I know that it's on Amazon.com. I don't know if that extends to, but I believe it must, into Australia. If not, I will send you a copy. So I know that many people that I play chess against across the world have bought it, Philippines and Australia, et cetera, but I don't know how they've procured it, whether you need to download it on your Kindle or whatever. So direct message me, I will get you the book. Yeah.
Yeah. And Mike, well, you see it here, Mike Studer, PT. Send him a
Yeah.
message, send me a message. We'll send you a link. I have no connection or I receive no benefit from selling. I'm not selling this book by any means, except that I think you're going to greatly benefit from it. That is a reward to me, knowing that you might make one small change to your health that really benefits
Yeah.
you. So that's a big reward to
Wouldn't that
me.
be something that we're all talking about how terrible our country's health is and the world's health is? Wouldn't that be something if some small book could actually effect a change that creates a butterfly effect?
Yeah.
You know, our whole thing
Yeah.
needs to be thinking about this and what's your best solution for that. We're not going to just mandate that everybody does this with sleep and this with nutrition. But can we open up the conversation so people have the opportunity to choose what's optimized for them? And then let's look through and see where the evidence is. Well, you know, the evidence isn't there for that food, but I've got all of these different, what options do you have there? Where do you see yourself in there? And we talk about chronotropy and sleep identities and not, you know, making sure that everybody does everything with guilt and shame and push and coerce, but let's let them live healthier lives across the world with a degree of choice and permission and identity, right? Identity is huge. I am a person that, and now you'll adopt that and now you'll keep doing that. That's great.
Yeah. Well, and you lead off the book to really say for each person, do a little experiment with
Yeah.
yourself. Try one small thing, right? And see if there's a change.
Yeah.
I love that. Every day is the opportunity for a little case study
Yeah.
in yourself.
Yes, that's right.
In
And
yourself.
the science is important in this, right? I mean, we do
Yes.
have to keep ourselves from being attracted to fads and just go
Yes.
completely towards something that doesn't have full research yet. And that's exactly why I wanted to have the deeper dive sections in every chapter.
Yeah, I was going to say there's little TLDRs, there's like the first read and then the deeper dive. Every single chapter has it. You can really go down your own rabbit
Yeah.
hole in
Yes.
them, as I like to do, and get the real data,
Yeah.
get the information, get the resources, the
Did
references.
you?
Several, yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. It's
No.
just I have a limited amount of impulse control. Uh, Sting wrote a song decades ago. If you love someone, set them free, right? If
Yes,
you love
yes.
someone, let them choose. And so that's what we're talking about here, right?
Yeah.
I just fashioned that because of what you were talking about there. Your rabbit hole is your rabbit hole. This is interesting to you. You go down there and you give people the opportunity. You please gift the book to other people. If you can't afford the book, let me know. Let me help you get there. Gift the book to other people that you love and care about. It is a wonderful treasure that shows them, I got this for you, not because I couldn't find out anything to get for you, is because I care about you.
Hmm. Hmm.
If you love
Yeah.
someone, let them choose.
I I see a new logo. I see a new logo. If you love someone, let them choose. I am going to choose a winner, and I
Okay.
don't really know how to do this, but I'm just going to scroll on here. It's very different during a live, and I'm going to see where I end up. And it's Michi Max, Michi Michimox. I care about how I say things, but I know that people's names are different on here, just like suitor ocho is your cousin, right? Number eight suitor is your
Sure.
cousin. So Nietzsche Mox, if you are still here, then
You must have a son.
send me a direct message and let me know your address, and I'm gonna send this your way. And Meg, and in fact, if you can let me know in the comments that you're here, because if not, I'm going to choose somebody else too. But you can let me know later. I'll still send it to you. I just want to make sure somebody gets this. Megan also says, as a health and wellness coach, choice is so important for lasting positive change.
She's got
Oh,
it. She's got it.
yeah,
And you know
she's
what?
got
All
it.
those people that I was talking about that I pay homage to and have learned from, this is the differentiator, right? Because
This
all
is
of
it.
those are beautiful, intelligent educators that are putting massive amount of material out on a weekly basis that is just so dripping with, tools and life hacks, etc. But nobody talks about the fact that we're going to give it to you, but you have to choose for yourself. And we're going to give it to you in a consumable way so that it feels approachable, approximate, available. But choice is not really the common through line that we're seeing anywhere. And so I wanted to
No.
differentiate that. So I do appreciate that, Meg's recognition of that across all interactions. You and I go running together. I choose the route. You might not feel so great about it. You choose the route. Isn't this lovely? Isn't this great? You want to give away choice,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and there's Maha here. Maha, who you met the other
I do.
day.
I recognize right away.
Yes. Oh, I'm so glad you're here live, Maha. I agree. And also, people need to be at the point or empowered enough to
Yes.
choose.
That's why we have the educational material in the book. We give you everything. You choose which chapter, and we don't just give you one direction. We give you multiple different avenues in every single pillar of health.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because we need some knowledge. We need some background. We need to know what we're choosing for. I
Yes.
also want to comment Beth Baird. Bill gained a lot working with Mike.
Treasure those.
Another.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah. It, it's just people that you get the opportunity to impact and help and provide care for. I'm sorry to say, I do believe I've received more than I've ever given. Yeah.
yeah, really lovely. Susan asked a great question. I know this comes up
Yeah.
from other clinicians. Sometimes my patients don't want to choose.
Absolutely.
Then what is
Yeah.
best? Help them, choose for
Yeah.
them.
So you give them only 2 or 3 options that you let them clearly know have been built based on what I know about you. I would like to
Mm.
focus today's session on strength, balance, or endurance. Which one of those 3 would you like to start off with? And before they know it, they've opted in. What's one thing that we did in today's session that you really want to make sure we do next session? And before you know it, they actually already started to plan next treatment session. I'm giving you 5 exercises for your home exercise program. Which 2 would you like to strike out? Even people that don't want to choose can easily adopt those 3 mechanisms right there. And that's just that's just from a physical therapy relationship standpoint. There's so many ways to do it. We've empowered you that says these are several different ways to sleep. These are several different tools that you can use to induce better sleep for nutrition, etc. What works best for you? We're just going to give you the information right here.
Yeah.
And the reality is we're getting to the point where precision medicine, precision rehabilitation is certainly becoming more sophisticated. We call it single nucleotide polymorphisms, SNPs in the book, right? I didn't make that up. But we're starting to understand more and more about what is likely going to be the best for you based on your genetics. And then we'll be able to even be more prescriptive about the choices that we give you. But we never burden people with 4 and 5 choices. When they don't want autonomy, we choose for them and we give them opportunities to select from 2 or 3.
Yeah. Brilliant. This is a class right now,
Yeah, I guess
Susan.
it is.
That was such a good question and really helpful advice to Mike. And I want to be mindful. We've got dinner plans on the line. You do. You do. I mean, I obviously also eat on a regular basis, but I don't have formal plans. I was just scrolling and seeing. I'm trying to pick randomly where my finger aligns
Mhm.
here, and hoping this person, Maha, are you still here? Because Maha's commented several times.
Yeah.
Um, if you're still here, I'm bringing you a book. I know where you will be this week. So Maha shared, by the way, Mike, I used the techniques Mike showed me on Thursday, the very next
Oh,
day.
that's lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you for your
Yeah.
time here. I know that's not easy, Maha, and I'm glad to hear that those techniques are already being implemented for you. Good.
And now you'll have a book. So one book coming, Maha. And we're gonna keep doing giveaways because I think this is such high value, so like a life-changing book for folks, Mike. So I want to get it in as many hands as possible. The best place for people to order is to head to Amazon.
Amazon
Is that
will
right?
give you the opportunity to purchase it on Kindle or directly from Amazon. They can get it to you so much faster than I can. They actually print them on demand. And I did not know that, but they print them on demand. If I order copies, I can get them to people. I can get them less expensive than Amazon can, but then I still have to ship it out to you. But I'm willing to also do that for people that would like a signed copy. So just direct message me on that. And we still are just under the first 500 people get a signed copy for $10 plus shipping, which is actually
That's
less
fabulous.
than you get it on Amazon. And they permit us to do that. It's not an under the table deal. It's fine.
Yeah, that's great. That is great. Well, look it up. The brain that chooses itself, TBTCI,
Mhm.
for short. And Mike, I am so lucky to call you a colleague and friend, a PT sister, PT brother. And thank you for what you've done to influence me and the people around me, but now and the world. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity here. I appreciate our ongoing sibling relationship in PT. And Julie, thanks so much to you and everyone that listened today who's with us now or is watching this in recording. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the opportunities to help us help you, if you will, Jerry Maguireism. But really, it's very impactful, and I'm blessed by the opportunities. And it's one of the reasons why I'm only going to see patients for another 30 years, right?
Yeah. It's life-giving. Well, thanks so much. Have a wonderful night, Mike.
Take care.
And we'll get more books.
Bye-bye.
Bye.